Welcome to our Mind the Moments Tuesday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. As you all know, this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to talk with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I am so happy to be here this morning with Rebecca Wing,
Good morning.
licensed clinical professional counselor and mindfulness instructor. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you all.
Nice to be with you. So, as always, today we'll start off with a question for the group, and then Rebecca will lead us in guided practice and share some thoughts with us. And then after that, we'll have time for questions and comments. So if you can go to the bottom of your screen, click on the chat. And once you do that, there's an option drop-down menu for you to choose panelists and attendees. And once you do that, you'll be able to see the comments coming in real time. And then we can go from there. So that's all for all our business pieces, and we'll jump right in. So Rebecca, what question shall we share with the group this morning?
Yes. So this morning we're going to be focusing on intention. And what the question is if you could create today an intention that would help you live a more mindful life and be more settled and present today, what would that intention be? Your highest or your best intention for what you want to embody today. Let's put it that way. So what's your best intention for what you want to embody today?
Okay, so people can just type right in any, even a word or two that inspires you and helps you focus on your intention today. And I'm trying to think of what I would add to that. I think what helps me stay in the present is, I just kind of put my hand on my heart and say, I'm here. And I like what someone has just added, to know that I'm enough,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good reminder.
Yeah, there are these aspects of intention that, we'll talk about this a little later after the meditation around this aspect of, well, is it patience? Do I want to bring patience to the day? Do I want to bring kindness, as someone's saying here? Absolutely. Empathy, beautiful. Yeah. And stopping and breathing. On this day, may I stop and breathe, that aspect of really reminding ourselves on a regular basis. How is it that I want to be today? What is it I want to embody today? For sure. Yeah.
I think about one step at a time too is helpful. That
Yes.
we just can do what we can do in the moment, and just giving ourselves that adds to the kindness and the patience.
Yeah.
We can only do one thing at a time.
Mhm.
So
And that the quality of, I think the reason that we're going to be, really talking about intention today is that so much of meditation practice is not only just learning how to be with the mind and focus the attention and anchor the awareness on a single point, but also to really bring some form of how we want to be in the world into our practice and then out into our daily living. So why don't we do our meditation this morning? And what I'm going to suggest at the end of the meditation is I'm going to give you a few moments to set the intention for yourself, whether it be patience or loving kindness or appreciation for each moment or stopping and breathing or having more of an empathic or compassionate heart. And we'll just sort of state it to yourself at the very end of the practice to sort of help establish what it is you're really bringing into the day today. So let's go ahead and find our posture that gives us our best chance of being awake and aware and also at ease. It's always finding that way to have the spine elongated and lifted and finding a way to help the body feel supported as you sit. So dropping into the chair this morning with our awareness, we're going to just let the busyness of the morning and whatever else is coming up the rest of the day And we're going to set that aside for now. And we're going to decide to drop the awareness first into bringing attention to the body. Where in my body this morning might I settle so that I am sitting with dignity and a quality of ease in my posture? We bring our best self to this moment. Notice where the breath is in this moment, the rise and fall, engaging the awareness on how the breath is rising and falling in this moment and each moment. Imagine letting go on each exhale, a releasing and a softening into the moment with each exhalation. If you wish, you can imagine the words letting go on each exhale. Letting go. At the bottom of the exhale, notice that there might be a pause before the inhale begins. Rest at the bottom of that exhale, letting the mind settle, letting go. Each exhale, an opportunity to let go again. As we move towards the end of the practice, see if you can bring up the intention that might have come to mind before we started. A quick reflection on what the qualities are of that intention, whether it be loving kindness, patience, empathy, stopping and breathing today. Just take a moment to reflect on what it would be like to embody that intention today. And I'll give you an example of how to end your meditation stating the intention. It might sound something like this. On this day, may my mind, my emotions, my body, my speech, my actions and deeds embody the quality of, state the intention to yourself. And on this day, may it be so. So take a moment to simply rest, just resting. And when you're ready, as we end the practice, you can draw a deeper breath in. Sometimes it's always helpful to stretch after the practice as we end the meditation.
Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome. So that aspect of just a few moments of setting intention. If you do it every day, I mean, if you have a daily meditation practice of any kind, doesn't matter if it's recorded or if it's self-led, or you're listening to someone else lead you, at the end of it, when it's all said and done, just establishing that form of this is what I want to embody on this day. And one of the things that I really want to encourage everybody to realize is that you only need one. And if you remind yourself every day, you could be with that for years. In other words, try not to be too creative. Come up with one that like, okay, this is the one I would really like to be able to embody. Because generally speaking, we tend to get kind of flooded with ways of being that, especially if you're like on the Instagram feed or Facebook, you're constantly getting these kind of to be a better person, XYZ kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, could I narrow it down to one thing, keeping it simple enough so that I can remember what it is. And the amazing thing about setting intention and really reflecting on it is you'll start seeing it more often in things you read or people that you talk to, because it's on your mind. It's something that you're looking for out in the world. Whereas if we have more than one and they're kind of diffused, it's harder to bring attention to really integrating and embodying any one particular one, because, you know, we're not enlightened. So it would be better to take one little piece and see if we can at least become more familiar with that than getting too far into other stuff.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. We get, you know, it's the blessing and the curse of the information age. I mean, I have a wonderful, I guess she's my niece-in-law, and every day she emails all of her friends and family with an intention for the day. And I'm thinking, wow, and they're different every single day. And it's like, it's hard to keep focused on that. So I thought one of the things, if it's okay, Suzanne, to share a page here for everybody, because I think one of the things that we sometimes get a little bit confused about is, first off, why are setting intentions so important? And so this aspect of embodiment, what do we mean by that? Well, we're literally trying to, in our body and our mind, bring a sort of quality or state that enmeshes our attitude and our intention. So as it says here, mindfulness is rooted in clear, ethical, and attitudinal foundations. We don't talk about ethics a lot in the mindfulness community, but we speak about, as far as that word, we tend to speak more about intention, which ultimately, when you think about it, any intention that you set is an embodiment of some form of ethical belief that you carry, that in order to be in this world, I would like to be a little bit more XYZ. So these foundations give mindfulness a transformative capacity, allowing us a framework to live our life in a more balanced way. So the intentions that we set are really asking these questions. So what supports my and others' well-being in this particular moment? What's really in my best interest that would help me in any moment, much less someone else? What does this moment actually need? And then this aspect of bringing attitudes of sensitivity, befriending, compassion, and care to each moment allows us to sort of embody a little bit more of a balanced, less grasping state if we're really trying to embody these qualities. And so the attitude, how do we get to these things what kind of attitude are we bringing? So we talk a lot in mindfulness about the aspect of non-judgment, which really, of course, is the acceptance. If it's not judging things, it's learning to accept, to be accepting. The non-striving piece, why is that important? Well, when we lose sight of our intention, we tend to be grasping and wanting things to be a different way. In non-striving, this means that we're more able to let things unfold as they happen and work with that aspect of acceptance without pushing against or resisting what it is we think should be happening versus actually what is happening in the moment. So this involves, of course, letting go. And I always like the two words friendly curiosity, because you don't see those two words side by side very often. So to be a curious person, bringing a friendliness to each moment, it allows us to get a little bit more able to unfold with a sort of an interest in the world versus a combative or negative or judgmental quality, which brings us suffering, of course, when we get into those grasping states. So I just listed a few of the intentions that frequently are brought to the front in the mindfulness tradition. Loving kindness, you really can't go wrong with that. If you don't like the word loving, you can just put kindness, if that speaks to you more. Qualities of patience, I find, are always good to continually reinvest in. Compassion, so it's a broad topic, but it's more about not only understanding our own suffering, but understanding and acknowledging the suffering of others. Living a more joyful, embodying a more playful way of being is one I've been sort of considering adding to my morning practice, because I really feel like we're just now touching in on the quality of playfulness again, now that we've coming out the other end of this pandemic. And equanimity, which is a word that you really have to study and read about, because it's not a word we talk about that much in America. The ultimate thing is this aspect of acceptance, of learning to accept. And if you're interested, this book, Ancient Wisdom Meets Modern Psychology, it's a very interesting book. It's kind of dense, but if you're really into the psychology of the mindfulness movement, they speak here, the concept of intention is so central to mindfulness practices because it shapes our body, mind, and world of the moment. To be mindful is to be conscious of each moment. To be conscious of our intentions is to have choices. Intention translates the foundational attitudes of mindfulness into our speech, thought, and acts. So this speaks very much about the aspect of choices. If I can't remember what I'm trying to embody, then in some moments I forget that I even have a choice to do something other than what's happening right away. So this aspect of repetition, when they say that it changes your mind, it changes your body, is because as we know, what we think about repeatedly, we literally connect those neural pathways in the brain. So if I'm really working with loving kindness and reflecting on it, reading about it, journaling about it, ending my meditation with it, bringing that quality of loving kindness to myself while I'm sitting in meditation, being with my dog and realizing that, oh, I feel this incredible loving kindness when I pet my dog, really noticing it, seeing it, investing in it, the neural pathways that are involved with that state become stronger, more robust, more likely to fire on their own. So whatever the intention is, the more we remember it, practice it, reflect on it, intend to it, then the more likely it is that we're going to become that thing. Now, we're not going to be completely it all the time. We're going to forget, but that aspect of repetition, very important. Yeah. So, and I think, Suzanne, you told me that one of the things you wanted to end was a question. So I think ultimately the question for today is, what is the intention that you would like to set for yourself about how you want to be not only with yourself, but with the world? And really commit to that intention. Make a little sign, put it by your bedside stand, put it on your bathroom mirror, so that you see it. Oh, yeah. I want to continually reinvest in this intention, this way of being.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I love the opportunity to incorporate that into our habit. Like you were describing, changing the pathways in our brain, because it's almost like as you're mentioning about things opening and things coming back to a post-COVID, post-pandemic life, we have to kind of change those pathways and change some of the things that we've been maybe focusing on. And
Yes.
if we can focus on something that's going to be better our lives and better the lives of people around us, all the better.
And I wanted to add, I think one of the things that sometimes we can kind of get a little bit confused about is that, for instance, committing to a life of kindness does not mean that you're going to be a doormat or somehow uninvolved with the world, or wanting to change things that you see need changing for the better in your world. This is the aspect of understanding this aspect of being sort of like a peaceful warrior. that you're going to hold your shape, you're going to move through the world with these, embodying these qualities, and also effectively look for where and in what way you might be able to contribute to ending, helping end the suffering of other people around you. And this is that aspect of recognizing that if I can bring, for instance, kindness or patience to myself, I know that's going to that's going to help relieve some of my suffering, and conversely, those of others. So what's your intention for your life, and how and in what way would you say it in a simple way, and keep doing that practice?
Yeah, what a great way to end the practice here today, and also start the week, to, you know, on a note of guiding ourselves in a good direction. So thank you so much, Rebecca. We
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate your practice and your guidance and your teaching. So very grateful to have you here today, and grateful to have everyone else here joining us this morning. And just a reminder, we're back here on Thursday at 8:30 and every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the summer. So keep coming and keep practicing and doing what you're doing. We really appreciate you being here. We hope everybody has a great rest of your day,
Yes.
and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.